Hi, this is Kevin. Welcome to part one of my tutorial on generic class-based views. Part one is a place where we're going to be using the redirect view and the template view. Let's just take a look at where they come from, okay? So, if you go to the documentation, you will find if you look up either of those, redirect view or template view, you'll find that they're one of the base views, okay? That includes view. Now, we've been using that for a long time, right? And then template view, redirect view, okay? And I think that's it. Right, okay. So these are pretty basic views. The template view is used to load a page that uses a template, but doesn't. It's sort of a dumb template in that it doesn't really do template-like things like pulling values out of the context. Okay, we're going to use it in the second thing that we do in the tutorial. We're going to use it to rig up an about page that has mostly static content and doesn't really need anything in the context. All right, so we're going to use that. Redirect view is a way to redirect a URL to another view, and we're currently doing that another way. We had to write a view to do it. Okay, it's pretty simple to do. If you go up there to redirect view, where is it? Oh, it's down here, I guess. Is that the second one? I can't find it. Redirect view, yeah. So we're going to use that too. So that's the documentation on it as of right now. Right now in the class, we're using Django 3.1. I just saw an announcement this morning. They've had a release of Django 3.2. We're not going to use it in the current teaching, but the next time we teach the course, we'll be using 3.2 at least. Maybe we'll be using 3.3 if that's come along. Okay, so let's look where we are. So let's fire up our application. Okay, so go up to Tools and start the manage.py task and do a run server to get up the development server. Okay, and here's what we've got. And it's probably hard to remember the way our application worked in the beginning, but in the beginning, we did not direct to any particular page. Okay, so if we just entered the URL for our site, we came up on a page error, okay? And then we did a redirect, which took us automatically to the section list page. So what we're going to do now is we're going to refactor that such that we get the same functionality. That's what refactoring is all about. But we change the code to make it more maintainable, okay? Using redirect view. Okay. So let's get that off of there and go look at our code. Okay. You'll remember that the urls.py and the views.py that we use for that redirection are in this other directory, the one I call the metadata directory, although that's not a good name for it. I'll have to find out what it's officially called. Okay. Perhaps it's called the home directory or something like that. Although I think the main directory is probably more appropriately called the home directory. Okay, so let's look at urls.py. Okay. And right now, we've got three patterns. Okay. We've got, and let's start to separate those. I think these are easier to view with kind of spaces in between them. Okay, it takes up a little more room, but I think it makes it easier to read. So we've got, going from the bottom to the top, we've got the path that kind of includes urls.py from the course info app. Okay, then we have the path that it gets us to the admin app. Okay, and then we have the path where if we don't get a part of the URL string after the domain name, okay, if we get like a bare reference to our website, we go to redirect root view. Okay. Now, where's that? Well, it's in our views.py for that section. And here's what it says. It's called redirect root view. It's a function-based view, so it's not real sophisticated, okay? And it does a return redirect to course info section list URL pattern. Now, is this a horrible design? No, it's not, okay? Although we have a view here that we have to maintain over time, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate this view. Instead, we're going to use redirect view, okay? And because that, we'll be able to eliminate views.py, okay? So we'll have one fewer program that we need to maintain over time. And that's a win, okay? This isn't a giant change. It's just a little refactoring to reduce the amount of code that we have to maintain. And the other thing that we do, and this is important in its own right, we do it in a more standard way. You know, the standard way to do this redirecting after the indirection of redirect view is to use redirect view. So that makes it easier to maintain because when we or somebody else comes to maintain our application and they looked at the redirecting that's going on, well, we're not doing it in a custom way, we're doing it in a standard way. Okay, so that makes it easier to maintain as well. Okay, so let's go back to urls.py and let's bring the code in that's going to do it. So I'm going to copy this out of my already baked version, okay? And I'm just going to copy it over top of the path that we're using now, okay? And it uses an import, so let's import that. I'm going to go down and click to import it, okay? So we're just saying that we want to use redirect view as view because it's a class-based view. It's not a function-based view. Okay. And we have pattern name is equal to the name of our pattern and permanent equal false. These are two things that we need to do to configure the view and the reference to the view here in the path that's in urls.py. So this is the equivalent of name equal that we put in. We don't have that here, but if we bring up our other urls.py, you'll see that we've given a name to each of the patterns. It just so happens that when you use redirect view using instead of using the keyword a parameter name, we're using the keyword parameter pattern name, which I think is maybe a better keyword parameter choice because it's more descriptive. And permanent equals false is probably best explained as that's just the way to configure this. Okay, there's a longer explanation, but it doesn't really bear repeating. Okay. All right, so we have that. Are we done? Well, we're nearly done. Remember how I said that we want to get rid of views.py, okay? Well, I just want to point out that we currently are importing it, okay? So before we get rid of views.py, if we just go to delete it, it's going to complain that it's being used. I found this out the hard way. And it's being used up here in this import, okay? So let's just delete that line, okay? And get rid of the extra line. All right, and now, okay, we're not referring to either the function-based view that we had or to views.py. And then let's just go over here to the panel that we use for navigation and go to views.py. Make sure you're pointing to the one that's in this top level directory and not your main one in course info. You don't want to accidentally get rid of your big if you use .py. You just want the little one, okay, this one here that has the one thing in it. So once you make sure you're pointing at the little one, well, you can right click and delete it. And we go delete, and that works fine. Okay, so that should be the refactoring. We just have to test it. So I'm going to click on the link, and I'm going to bring up the page, and here it works just fine. It took us right to the section list. All right, so that's coded and tested. So we've done the first of our things. Okay, let's go and work on the second thing that we're going to change. Okay. Oh, and you know, while we're doing that, let's just look at the application again. So you can see that here's our nav bar. One thing that you'll see a lot of times on a nav bar is an about page. Okay, and it's sort of a polite thing to do. Okay, and so we're going to add one to our application. All right. So let's go do that, and we're going to put the link right here at the end. All right. So step one, in the starter files that are available on the weekly schedule for this assignment, there is a copy of a template called about.html. So I want you to copy and paste it into your course info app under templates. So we're going to open up templates, course info. I'm going to right click and say paste. I've already done a copy. About HTML, it opens it up. Okay. So what kind of a page is this that we can navigate to it or render it with a template view? Okay. Well, one of the big things that our views do that help the templates is that they load up all the data that needs to be retrieved in the view. They put it into the context object. Okay. And then the template pops everything out of the context object using the template tags. Okay. So if we have a template that's not popping things out of the template tags, okay, like the one that we have here, our about page, well, it's the ideal thing to not have to write a custom view for, because we don't have to put anything into the context for it. As you can see, it uses base.html. It has a title called about, okay, and then it has an H2, which is a kind of a title in the body, and then we have a paragraph that has a link, no template tags. Okay, so that's step one. Okay, step two, we're going to need an entry in urls.py. Which one? We're going to put it in the high level one. Okay. Okay, so how are we going to do that? We are going to put it in. Let me pause this for 1 second so I could go find it and bring it over. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So we're going to put it into this urls.py that we're working on, the one that's in our top level directory. It's not really the top level directory. I call it the metadata directory. Okay. Mine's called Trainer Kevin EZU. So we're going to that urls.py again. And right under the one where we redirect, we're going to put another path. So because it's using template view as view, we need an import for template view. So I'm going to take that. Okay. And so the string that we're going to get is about, just like admin. Okay. Okay. So when we get the string about, we are going to use the generic class-based view, a template view, and we're going to use it to render. We give it the template name, course info about.html, and in this case it gets just a name attribute. In fact, let's just put that in there. I like that better if they're at the same kind of level. Let's make those equal. I think that looks a little better. So the keyword parameter in which we set the name of the pattern is name. This is consistent with all the other ones. Why this one above for redirect view, the keyword parameter is a pattern name instead of name? I think maybe they were developed by different people. It would be nice if they made them all the same. Okay, and so we're going to call this the about URL pattern. Okay, do we need to create a view? No, we don't, because we're using a built-in view. Just the same as up on redirect view, we were using a built-in view. All right, that's good. Do we have everything that we need? Just about. What are we missing? We don't have a link on our navigation bar yet. So let's go up to the course info app. Okay. Open up base.html. Okay. Navigate to the end of this nav bar and open up a blank line where we can insert the code. And I'm going to insert the code from my already baked version. You're going to have to type yours in, right? Okay, so we're adding another list item, another LI. And we put that in. And so, um, so in the template tag that generates the text for the href attribute, we do the standard thing. We call for a URL that's based upon the about URL pattern. Okay. And then what's the link text about? All right. So we have to click off of that to make sure that that gets saved. And now we're ready to go up to go back to our application and get the thing to work. And let me pull this over here. I had it on my other monitor. Here it is. So yes, we have a link for about, and we click on it, and we go right to the page. And I think that looks kind of slick. You know, maybe the typography that is chosen here, you know, some of the type, it looks like the H2s are too big, okay? So if you really wanted to tune this up, you probably would make these H2s a little smaller. But the fact is, I borrowed this styling from the Pinkham book, and again, the course isn't really about CSS and styling. If you really want to learn a lot about that, you need to take a different course, right? And so, you know, this is fine. I kind of like it. All right, so we're done. You know, we've done two things. We have refactored the redirection that happens, that takes us to the section list page when we go to the site. And then we have used template view in order to implement our about page without having to create a custom view for it. Really very nice. So that's all for part one. I'm going to say bye now, and I'll see you in part two. Bye-bye.